Greetings and salutations, and welcome to episode number 183 of Ref the District.
Wow.
Appreciate everybody who is here. Of course, we are live every Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern on Facebook, on YouTube, and tonight on Twitch. Why Twitch? Well, because Twitter has banned us, not just us, Trev, but Twitter.
Okay. I was like, what?
The only time that you can live stream on Twitter now is if you give Elon $11 a month. So you have to get verified in order to live stream on Twitter anymore. And I guess we're just not going to do that, at least for now. So we're on Twitch, which we're not normally on Twitch. But if you're on Twitch, make sure you let us know and we'll call you out. Of course, I'm Stoner right over there to your right, but he's on my left. That's Trev. What's up, Trev?
What's up? Oh, man, it's just another summer day. Big day today. Can't wait to get into it later on. But I'm good, man. It's good to see you. Glad to have you back on the show.
Yeah, it's been a while since you and I have been able to chop it up about the Commanders /WFT /Redskins. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. Trev, you were on vacay last week, right?
Yeah, I was in Ohio.
What was vacay like? What'd you guys do?
Oh, it was great. We just hung out, ate some good food, went a little back to school shopping for the kids, a little shopping for ourselves. Just got out of town for the week, It was nice.
What's in Ohio? You have family there? She have family there?
She has family there. Her whole entire family's there. So I met her family in person. I've met a few on FaceTime and via text and stuff, but
yeah,
they want me back. So we're thinking about going back for Thanksgiving. So I must have did something right in the week.
Get some turkey. Make sure you bring. What'd you bring? Did you bring anything like the first time? Did you bring like a gift? I don't know if you have to.
Myself, bro. No, I just. But then funny story. We went to Ross up there. You know how they have like all the posters in the back in the home section. Some are funny, some are not funny.
Oh yeah.
I got one that's a cat sitting back in a chair smoking a cigarette. And I gave it to her dad in Ohio for his office. And as soon as he saw it, he was like, I love it. It's perfect. It's already up. He put it up right there in front of his computer.
Yeah.
It helps him do his work day, he says. So, but it's hilarious. This cat smoking a cigarette, just chilling.
Yeah.
Because I just explained to him. So, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Glad you had a good time. Get some time away and relax time a little bit. But it's time. Yeah, it's go time. That's a great look at. We have a fantastic show. It is jam-packed. We've got so much to talk about here on Ref the District. Again, it's episode number 183. Make sure you hit that like button right now. Get it out of the way because I'm going to be mentioning it 100 times. And if you do it, maybe even over here in the side box there, go ahead and say, I already hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed, make sure, of course, that you subscribe to the show. Again, we're everywhere. If you have any sort of connection to the internet, you can find us anywhere on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. So big show for you tonight. We've got a lot to go over. Trev, again, make sure you hit that like, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you get in here early, it's imperative, use the comment section over there, because when it's early, that's the time that we usually can look at some of those comments and save them for later. We have the ability to do that. And I'm going to bring one up now that I've starred for later, and that's from Eric Blythe, who said, and I quote, "Met the woman of my dreams because of y'all. Thank you," with 4 exclamation points. We're going to need a little explanation on that, Eric.
What? Are we going to have a dating segment added to the show? I mean, are we out here matchmaking people? Let's go.
I don't know how that happened, but congrats to Eric. And give us a little bit more info. And that's just a tease of what you can do is if you get in here early, you can get comments like that. But because as the show goes, we sometimes miss a few of those comments. So if we don't respond, it's not because we're not paying attention, but the show's got so much going on that we'll sometimes miss things. So you got to get your stuff in here. But a lot of people in here already. Locked On's here. Al Capone's here. Of course, Eric. Trey is checking in from Central Florida. Thanks, Trey. Of course, Uptown Dre is here. Doug's in the house. Gus Bus. Brian, it's always is here. Josh is here. He's saying Dotson dropping balls. We'll get to talking about that. And I did fail to mention, as Lockdown is saying here, Nathan is out tonight. He is sick, and he gave this great line that I want to read word for word when he said, which I thought was really funny. It was apropos of tonight. He said, "You might as well call the Perrys, Nathan's family, Jayden Daniels, because we're passing this virus around and we're connecting to everybody." I added the last
one, but I like that. I like that.
A virus going on in their house, and so everybody's kind of down for the count. So Nathan's not here tonight. Of course, he'll be back next week.
Yeah.
And he'll be back here every week thereafter, unless, of course, he gets sick again. So guys here, P-Dub's in the house, of course. And as we talked about, Big E also in the house. Appreciate all of you all here.
What's up, Big E?
And like I said, we've got so much to talk about. In the cool down, which is later on, you're going to want to stick around for that. In the cool down, we got a lot of news and notes about the Commanders, and that's going to just be stuff that was not necessarily related to practice, Trev, which is maybe some stadium news, some Jason Wright news. We're going to have to at least mention some names. Sorry, it's news, so we're going to go through a little bit of that. Maybe some stuff about the Giants and Hard Knocks. We'd like to talk about that as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So your mic is kind of going in and out a little bit.
It's in and out, huh? Let's
just a little bit. Like it's like
really. I mean,
bit, yeah.
Nathan was having that last week, so I wonder what's going on.
He's passing that on too.
He's passing the virus through the mics. Yeah. So let me know if it keeps doing it. But okay. I'll try and get a little bit closer to the mic so it projects a little bit better. So that's what we're going to do in the cool down. That's later on. And again, later on in the game, that's what we're going to talk about, all the training camp highlights. And as I showed Trev earlier, I've got so many notes to talk about training camp today. So we're going to talk about that later. And the much anticipated, much talked about, the everyone seems to want to catch on to this, and that is the third annual, not for Jayden Daniels, but it's the third annual Stoners Jayden Daniels tracker chart. All right. And we'll talk all about what that is and how that came about. So we're going to debut that tonight because practices day one was today. So we got to talk all about Jayden Daniels, of course. But here in the warm-up, we're going to talk all about the press conference yesterday, which a lot of important stuff was talked about between Adam Peters and Dan Quinn in that press conference. So we don't want to just throw that aside. So we're going to talk about a little bit about that. But before I do, one last thing to get out of the way, some business. BetOnline has been very good to ref the district. So we want to make sure we get in our read for BetOnline. So give me 30 seconds. We'll knock this out. We won't talk about it again, and we'll get on to the most important part of the show. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything online sports betting. Right now, you can receive a 50% free bet of up to $250 on your first deposit to bet on anything from the Olympics to baseball to Formula One racing. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Use promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, for your 50% free bet credit on your first deposit up to $250. BetOnline, the game starts here. Let's get into it. We've got all that aside. Make sure, again, you hit that like button. We want to get as many likes as we possibly can so our channel and our videos spread throughout and everyone has a chance to check out Ref the District. All right.
Yep.
Let's talk a little bit about yesterday's press conference, Trev, with Quinn and Peters. Mm-hmm. And first of all, I wanted to talk a little bit about the chemistry between the two of them. They really do look like they're on the same page. Well,
sure.
What's going on sort of with, let's just call it a bromance between the two.
Okay. I'm down with that.
Well, what is it with these two that why they seem to get along so well?
They spent the last month off from OTAs and mini camps having dinner with each other, having meetings with each other, playing golf together, probably watching film together. Like their wives are probably like, "Oh, you're going to Dan's house? Oh, you're going to Adam's house? Okay, cool.
Again.
What are we fixing? What are we fixing for Dan and his wife for dinner tonight?" Like that's probably how it got towards the end of the month that they had off. So and that's what you want to see. You want to see this connection. I mean, they're both first timers here. First time head coach for Dan Quinn at Washington. First time like predominantly sole GM position for Adam Peters. So they're both attacking this thing brand new. And they both have the mindset. They preached about it in the introductory press conference, lock in step, which means they were doing some work during the season last season or off season last season. Like it's just this has been building and building and building. It's getting closer and closer and closer. It's what you want to see if you want to have a successful organization from let's say the press box up. Not so much the players, but front office stuff and all that. That's what you really want to have. So it's great to see.
It looks like they do work well together. So that's important, obviously, to success of the team. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be successful, but that's a good trait to have for sure. One of the things that they mentioned yesterday is that Johnny Newton was looking like he was going to be back sooner than later because he was on the non-football injury list because, and it's a technicality, he was on that list. It was football related because it was surgery from the off season before he was under contract. So that's why they call it non-football injury because it's like non-Washington related.
Gotcha.
But he said he would probably be back earlier and later, and we'll get into it in the game when we talk about today's practice. He's already back.
Yeah, already back.
Already back.
The day after.
So that was something I thought was interesting, Trev, because you know what? They weren't just blowing smoke. They said he's going to be back sooner than we think.
Yeah,
and he was. So that's an important trait.
It is important. JP Finley said it's a good sign that they're addressing their first serious injury, I guess, to the team and how they didn't blow smoke and just didn't, did do the Ron Rivera, what we used to in the past about significant players with significant injuries. They told us the truth, and boom.
Yeah,
he's back.
There it is. Good point. Adam Peters says this is the most excited he's ever been for a training camp. Is that significant?
Yeah. I mean, because everywhere else he's been there for a longer, like he was at the Niners for a few years, Patriots, Denver, like he was there for 2 or more years. And he kind of, whatever. But this is like his first time being the head honcho.
Yeah.
He drafted it. He did the draft. He signed the free agents. Like he knows what he brought into this team. So why wouldn't he be the most excited he's ever been? Because he actually was in charge of the offseason. From the coach to the for other front offices to the draft to the free agents. So yeah, I believe it. At first I was like, okay, he's just saying it because of the camera. But no, I thought about it. I was like, yeah, it's like you get the keys to the Ferrari. Now you get to take it wherever you want to go.
Yeah.
Last year you were in the passenger seat. You might have been driving a rental car, but now you got the keys, bro. So I would be excited too.
Yeah, absolutely. Agree with that. One of the other things, a big topic in the offseason was the whole Brandon Aiyuk situation in terms of, I don't know, it was only a couple weeks ago when he had the whole Instagram photo of Commander's practice, right? And Adam Peters says, look, we handled it internally. And that's the end of that. And it wasn't a big deal to them.
No, that's great. It wasn't dragged on.
Yeah.
The fans dragged it on, but that's what we tend to do that, but they didn't.
And then Dan Quinn also said, and I quote, he says,
"Oh boy,
you only get one shot with a new group, and I'm not going to miss it."
Yeah,
I mean, I'm loving everything that Dan Quinn is saying, and look, there is. I want to bring this up. Like, there's a lot of from Locked On. He says a lot of these things that, look, that's the way it was last year. We're always fired up at the beginning of a year. There's all of these things that kind of translate year after year after year. But that doesn't mean it can't be a successful year. Right. And it doesn't mean that things are not different, because I'm sorry, they are different. That doesn't mean it's going to be successful, but things are different.
And also, I can see where he agrees with that, but also it's different because that was the head coach and his offensive coordinator / assistant head coach. This is GM and then head coach. So I'd rather see this rapport with the GM and head coach.
Yeah.
rather than the glossy look that we had last year at the press conference. And then once the cameras went off, it was not what it was on the camera.
Right.
So, but yeah, I see where he's coming from.
Another thing that that they said was, I think it was Dan Quinn that says this. Yeah, he said, look, camp is going to be challenging. Mm-hmm. It's going to be demanding, and it's going to be fun as hell.
Yeah.
And that's just sort of what he brings.
I'm ready, bro.
And again, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be successful.
No.
But he's starting out on the right foot with this organization.
It really is. And that's why we're sitting here talking about these little tidbits, because this hasn't happened in a long time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's nice that it's not, I think Lockdown is right in terms of this does happen every year. We do have this excitement. I mean, last year we could not have been more excited about Eric Bieniemy and Sam Howell and Ron Rivera saying we finally got the roster built. Right? We're building this, and it just turned into an absolute bomb. But it still can be different, and it doesn't mean it can't be successful. So I'm excited about what these guys are bringing in terms of their professionalism and their experience, their attention to detail. And as we get into what we're going to talk about in the game, when we get into that, we're going to talk about the differences between this camp and previous camps, along with all the specific things that went on camp today that everybody definitely needs to hear all about. So pretty exciting, Trev. Training camp is finally here. We're going to try at some point to get out for one of the training camp days. I know I'm going to try to get out for one of the days. And I know Trev is going to try to get out. I don't think Nathan's coming from Oklahoma for a training camp day. He'll probably come out for a game. Right. But let's just say you're going tomorrow. Let's just as a hypothetical. What would you most want to see when you get there tomorrow for camp?
Communication. Attentiveness.
Yeah.
Attention. Hard work. I saw where Mekhi Becton, not related to Commanders, but he puked 10 times today at camp and got back there every time, So I want to see some integrity, some heart. I want to see the reason why you're here, why you wanted to come here to a brand new team.
Yeah.
Like the Bobby Wagners, the Frankie Davis, the Michael Davis from the Chargers, Austin Eckler's, Zach Ertz brought that man out of retirement pretty much.
Yeah, basically.
So that's what I want to see. Outside the obvious, which is Jayden Daniels.
That's right. Jayden Daniels. So let's get into it without kind of burying the lead anymore. Today, again, day one of practice. Rookies have been in the buildings for almost a week now, but they haven't been doing any on-field work. They've been in the classroom. They've been in the weight room, been in meeting rooms, all of that. The veterans reported yesterday. And then today was the first full day of practice. Trev, pads come on Monday. Pads come on Monday.
Oh, man. I can't wait till next week's show already then.
I know, right? So next week is going to be fire. So a lot to look forward to here. So without further ado, let's get to talking about what's happening or what happened at practice today. So stay with us. We'll be right back to talk all about Commanders practice day one here on Ref the District. All right, welcome back to Ref the District, episode number 183. Of course, I'm the stoner. That's Trev. Nathan is out tonight. He is very sick, but we've got a lot to talk about anyway. It doesn't matter. Somebody's going to be here on Wednesday night, every Wednesday, 183 straight weeks that we have been live. So make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Again, if anybody happens to be watching on Twitch, which we don't know a whole lot about that particular platform, but if you're watching, let us know, and we'll give you a big shout out earlier. One thing I want to shout out before we get into it is JG says that we got a shout out from Chico today. So maybe expand on that a little bit. What they said, what Chico said, and man, I don't want to do this, but who Chico is? Sorry, I don't. Do you know Trev?
Either.
Yeah.
No, I saw that comment and I was like, I don't know who that is, but thank you, Chico.
But yeah, maybe Chico is somebody we should know. So
probably will know by the end of the show. So
yeah, let us know all about that. Trev, today was day one of practice, and if you were sleeping on what was happening with the Commanders today, then you missed a whole lot because you don't want to sleep. And if you need an energy boost, look right here. We've got Don't Sleep Energy Drink.
hey.
Don't Sleep Energy Drink. They're a big sponsor of Ref the District. So make sure you do. You head out to don'tsleepenergy.com. Use the code DISTRICT, as in Ref the District. Use the code DISTRICT and get 10% off your order. They are a local DMV company. So if you're in the DMV area, you are helping a small business here. And we love the guys over at Don't Sleep Energy. They've also got these great shots right here of energy, which are really awesome, especially for traveling, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're traveling, you just throw these in your backpack. And if you need that little bump to get you going, make sure you head over to don'tsleepenergy.com, use the code DISTRICT, get 10% off. Let them know that Trev and Stoner sent you from Ref the District. All right.
That's right.
Trev, we got to get to these notes.
Man. Let's do it.
First thing, Trev, this is what was noticed by a lot of the beat reporters and everyone who was there. Energy, energy, energy. I get it. It's day one. I know Lockdown's going to jump in here and say every team, their practice is full of energy. But the beat reporters noticed a difference from past years. It's a different energy, and it's high energy. Is there a difference, Trev, in the energy of this year than in past years?
Yeah, because this is the first time in a while we pretty much had a brand new team. I can remember since I've been a fan. Usually you have some leftovers every year. Half the team is leftover. So we just used to people coming in and doing the bare minimum probably just to get by because they're a 7-year vet. They don't have to work as hard. They're going to make the team their starter no matter what. Mm-hmm. This year, they all have something to prove. Almost everyone on this team is brand new, and the ones that are left over still have something to prove, whether they should stay or seek free agency and go somewhere else. And like last year, their contracts, or they've been here for almost 10 years already. So I'm loving it. It's the first day of school, and everybody has a lot to prove. So that's the energy. It's different. That's why.
Yeah, and I think John Allen said exactly that. Right? There's a lot of guys in that room who have a lot to prove, and we talked about it on last week's show. I know you weren't there for that, but we talked about all these guys who are on 1-year contracts, the veterans that they signed. Guys like Chin, right? Mm-hmm. He's got a lot to prove.
Farrell,
Clint, all these guys who are on these one, and then the young guys who have a lot to prove, the De'Ami Browns, the Jamin Davises, guys who are on the last year of their contract.
The Jeremy Reeves,
if they don't prove anything, then so they're fighting. They're fighting for their NFL life in training camp this year.
Yeah, exactly.
And John Allen has noticed it, and he says he loves that. He loves that. So the other thing that I noticed is we don't have the distractions that we normally have. We normally have all kinds of distractions.
Yes.
But we also don't have the distractions of what other teams have, right? Just think about it. First of all, we don't have any serious injuries to worry about, right? Because they brought in Johnny Newton, as we talked about earlier, came off the list, and apparently he was kicking some tail. No pads. I get it.
Right.
They're doing really well in practice, just coming off that injured list. So that's about it. I mean, F.A. Obata went on the physically unable to perform. I mean, his knee got destroyed.
Yeah.
In the season, so that's understandable. But you don't have any other injuries. You don't have any holdouts. You don't have any really questions about in the quarterback position, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But because there kind of is a question, but not really. But think about this. What if we had a guy and starting with a new coaching staff, new everything, right? I believe this is the first time in history that a team has had a new owner, a new GM, a new coach, and a new QB1 all in the same year that Washington does. But just what if Jonathan Owens played for this team?
Who?
Jonathan Owens.
Simone Biles?
He is Simone Biles' husband, and he's taken 3 weeks off for the Olympics.
How many?
All the Olympics, like 3 weeks.
Okay.
Right? If that was happening on this team, that's a massive distraction. Because I'm sorry, I don't care about all that other stuff going on. Your job is to play football.
Yeah.
And all these guys have stuff going on with their family. Why are you excused, or why are we not making a big deal about a guy who's going to the Olympics to support his wife? I mean, that's pretty awesome. He's doing that. Yeah. But I'm cutting him. I'm sorry. I think he's a good dude, and I like Simone Biles. I mean, she's the greatest gymnast in U.S. history, but I'm cutting his butt because he's leaving to go watch.
What if it was 2 weeks?
No. 2 days is not going to do it. No.
1 week.
No.
First the Olympics.
I don't care.
They come every 4 years, bro.
I don't care. You have
all
a
the games she's been
to play for this team.
All the games she's been to.
Okay. Do you think she missed like Olympic trials and big meets so that she could go and watch this game?
Maybe.
I don't think so. I think that's it. But anyway, that's not on this team, right?
No. Right.
What about the whole situation with Hassan Reddick and Aaron Rodgers holding out of mandatory mini camps, and now Hassan Reddick is holding out of training camp?
Yep.
I mean, we don't have that distraction, right?
No, we don't.
CD Lamb's holding out, right? He's not. I think he might be holding in, which means he's there, but he's not practicing. And I'm not sure about him. But what about even in San Francisco, who we think is a model organization? And you've got Brandon Aiyuk, who is holding in. He shows up to practice. He goes to all the team stuff. And then when they say, okay, everybody go to your position drills, he leaves.
He's chilling,
He goes into the building because he wants a new contract. Guess who else didn't show up in San Francisco for practice today?
Trent Williams.
I mean,
why?
He wants a new contract, right?
I guess. I didn't hear that, but that's why he's not there.
Yeah, 100%. He's said that he's holding out for contract reasons.
Well,
so you don't have that. What about like the Broncos, who are out here tweeting? What's that quarterback who's at the Jets? The young guy, Zach Wilson. He's throwing like a 5-yard dump off, and they're tweeting it out as this amazing. We don't have the Broncos quarterback issues. They've got Zach Wilson. Who else is there for the Broncos?
Bo Nix. He's going to be the starter.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have that issue.
No, we don't.
And then like the Steelers, and you've got the whole Russell Wilson situation, right? We don't have those, Trev.
No, we don't.
We don't have the Chase Young situation that we've had in the past. Right?
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
No offense. Great family. Met his mom and dad. Great guy.
Yeah.
Come on, he's in New Orleans.
Yeah, he's in New Orleans, and I think he's hurt.
There.
But anyway.
Jarrett Stidham also in Denver.
Jarrett Stidham, that's the other one. Yes, thank you for that. All right. Johnny Newton.
Yes.
We were concerned about Johnny Newton and his in OTAs, and that he had a walking boot in OTAs.
Yeah.
However, we even said this, unless he's not there for training camp, it's not an issue, right?
Right.
Day one of training camp, he's there. How did he look today? What did you see with Johnny Newton today?
Somebody who's been trying to get on the field since we drafted him. Somebody who couldn't wait to get healthy. I mean, it's no pads. I saw a couple clips of him doing the sled drills or whatever. He looked explosive. Still no pads, but like it's the first we've seen him in any action since we got him to the organization. So He's hungry. You heard Adam Peters say he was hungry. I'm fired up. And apparently, it kind of seems like Jonathan Allen is taking him under his wing a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
He is.
So,
yeah.
And you love to see that. That hasn't happened in a while.
That's right.
You know? So,
especially with those defensive tackles.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? I mean, they're good leaders and all, but they haven't taken guys under their wings. And he's doing that. And so I will say this. We can put all of the Jonathan Allen's going to get traded rumors to rest. He's not getting traded. I've said this for years with him, guys like him and McLaurin and Reeves. Yeah. Just because they're losing doesn't mean their leadership is not important. And Jonathan Allen is a great leader. Right? Remember, you used to get mad at Jonathan Allen like before the games, and he was the guy doing all the hype in the huddle and everything.
Yeah,
and then they go out and
not
lose
performing. Yeah. But I didn't want to trade him. Just get somebody else to lead the huddle. That's all I'm asking.
Somebody else in the huddle. But if somebody else is in the huddle, they're still going to lose. It's not like
exactly.
That was the difference in the game.
Yeah.
So Jonathan Allen taking the rookie under his wing is a big thing, and just him being out there again. Right now, at least starting in day one, we don't have any injuries to concern ourselves with. And if you want to knock on wood, or if you think I'm jinxing it, whatever, there's just something nice about not going out and concerned with McLaurin's toe or Dotson's hamstring or
Curtis Samuel's groin.
Yeah. I mean, we do again. The only guy who's really on the pup of any kind, any sort of list, is F.A. Obata, and he's he's a depth piece. He's not expected to offer anything.
Take your time, man. Take your time.
Take your time, son. Zach Ertz has already been praised by this coaching staff.
Yeah,
talking about his leadership, 2, he knows how to get open. What do you think Zach Ertz is going to bring to this team? Let's just assume he's healthy for 14 of 17 games.
Oh, in that case, security for the quarterback, leadership for the locker room, veteran presence on the field and off the field, knowledge. He's won a Super Bowl, right? He has a ring, doesn't he, with the Eagles?
Did he win with the Eagles? I think so.
Okay, if either win, lost, or he won one. Either way, he's been in the postseason. How about that? So we haven't been in a while. I don't know. Production-wise, I really don't look for him to have like a crazy year. I just need him to be the tight end he was in his prime. Obviously, he's getting older. But I don't care about his production. Just be there to help Jayden Daniels be successful and the rest of the team.
And I'm with Lockdown in this with Ertz. Ertz, I'm sorry, Ertz is a difference maker. Yeah, he is a guy that you have to game plan for on defense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I understand he's older and he's had some injuries the last couple of years. That doesn't mean that if healthy, that he's not somebody who can make a difference, especially for a young quarterback who needs that guy sitting there in the middle of the field when it's 3rd and 6.
Yes.
And he can dump off. And guess what?
Yes.
Zach Ertz is going to be 6 yards downfield.
Maybe he's even 17. He's a yak guy too. That's
right.
He can keep going.
But he's not going to stop his route a yard short, which drives all of us crazy, especially Nathan. He can't stand when it's a 3rd and 5 and they throw a 3-yard pass. I mean, it's not going to work.
No.
Yeah. So I'm a big Zach Ertz guy. Of course, he needs to be healthy in order to be effective. All right. Let's talk a little bit, Trev, about this whole thing that they said in their press conference yesterday, where they said that Jayden Daniels has not been named the starter. And they're not going to. And they said that when Daniels is ready, we'll know he's ready. What do you sort of buy? What do you sort of read into what they're talking about when they say that Daniels is not being named the starter yet?
It's day one. He also said it's no secret, and it's not a secret. We didn't draft Jayden Daniels number 2 for him to sit behind Marcus Mariota. Okay, that's just not how it's going to happen, no matter what they say. but I respect what he's saying. He's sending a message not only to Jayden Daniels, but to other rookies or other players that's trying to make the squad instead of being a practice squad player, trying to make the active roster. It's earned. It's not given. The NFL, nothing's given unless you're Tom Brady or Peyton Manning. That's given. But other than that, it's earned. I'm not saying they didn't earn it, but you know what I mean. It's earned. You're a rookie. You're not just coming here and be named starter because of what you did in college, even though that's why we drafted you and brought you here. We're not going to come out and say it because then that could change the attitude of the locker room. If people be like, oh, well, he's the starter, so why is he even? I'm not even try hard because he's going to be starting. So like, no, you want to keep the locker room competitive and something to prove. So
yeah, I think there's some validity to all of that. I think there's a little bit, like I said, there's a little bit of mind games to him, keep him sharp and all of that.
Yeah.
But I mean, if it's me, I'm walking out day one and I'm just saying, this is our guy. Okay. He's
I know.
our starter.
Why can't we ever get somebody that just says that? Like all these smoke screen answers are just ridiculous, but I get it.
Here's the thing though, Trev.
Business. Yeah.
When they went out and Mariota got the first reps of the day. Okay.
Team drills, yes. Mm-hmm.
In team drills.
Fine. That's
right.
Fine. Mm-hmm.
Here's the difference though. Mariota, let me rephrase this. Jayden Daniels was taking snaps in his drills from the starting center, Tyler Biadasz.
Exactly.
That's all you need to know right there.
That's all you need to know. Doesn't matter.
He's taking snaps from the first team center, not the
exactly.
back.
No, it's just Marcus went first today.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
And Quinn said it. There are going to be some days where some quarterbacks get more action than others. And probably because you want to see how this quarterback reacts in this situation, how this quarterback reacts in that situation, in this scheme, in that scheme, which scheme fits the quarterback. You know what I mean? So it's a true probably quarterback competition on the field, but everybody up here knows.
They know.
It's that guy right there.
They know.
He's QB1.
Quick, JG said he meant that Rico, not Chico.
Oh,
that makes more sense, right?
Yeah.
Rico from Street Scores gave us a shout out. So appreciate Rico.
Thank you, Rico. Appreciate
doing
you,
that. I had him on a couple weeks ago. It was just me and Rico on that show, but so he's a great dude if you haven't checked him out.
Awesome.
But if you're new here, of course, make sure you hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. We try to get as many likes as we can. It's not an ego thing. It's not something that we brag about, but it's a way the algorithm of YouTube, the algorithm spreads our show further when we get more likes. So that's why we always ask for it. And again, if you happen to be watching on Twitch, make sure you let us know that you are watching on Twitch, because we don't usually broadcast to that particular platform. All right. A couple other things. Let's go through. You saw a picture of Emmanuel Forbes today.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What do you think? Do you buy into what was being pushed? Was that it looks like he's added weight? Do you see that? Do you believe that?
I see a little bit. It's nothing like but it's like, there's a difference there. He's been in the weight room as he should be. Yeah. You want to see improvement from a guy with his size like that and his body stature. So it's improved.
You saw he looked a little bigger, looked a little thicker.
He looks just a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. He's still skinny as a rail, but
it's
like one of those, like a flagpole rail now, like it's not about that circumference.
Yeah, for sure. And what about in terms of Forbes? I think Nathan said this last week, and tell me if you agree with this. He said, Lockdown said that he's up to 150 pounds.
Here we go.
He said that Emmanuel Forbes may be CB5.
5.
If you count Sanistril as a cornerback. Which Sanistrill's cornerback, safety, slot guy, whatever. He's kind of a jack of all trades.
5.
Davis, BSJ.
BSJ.
Right. Sanistril.
Yep. Okay.
Who did he have? Maybe he was putting what's his name? Second year guy from Illinois.
Quan Martin.
Quan Martin. Maybe he was
no. Quan's a linebacker / safety kind of guy. Like he's not a corner.
Yeah. Okay.
I got Forbes. Forbes is 4.
I mean, do you worry that Forbes is going to be, because we can't call him this yet, is going to be a bust first rounder? Or do you think last year was just
I don't. I think looking back at what we know now, what we saw with Joe Witt and his crew did with the Cowboys secondary last year. I mean, they had like a 5th round pick named Deron Bland lead the league in interceptions, I think, or at least like his career high was 6.
Yeah.
So, and you saw who our defensive backs coaching staff was like last year, led by Del Rio for half the season. So, like, I just think it also, in this particular situation, depends on coaching. I think we drafted him because of his highlight reel at Mississippi State, but we didn't know how to use him. And we tried to put him out there against number ones all day, which, given the position he was drafted in, you could so yeah, I give him a chance this year. Different coaching staff, different mentality. Yeah, he might be used different. So I'm not giving up yet.
So the defensive backs coach is Tommy Donatel.
Yes.
Okay, and then the assistant defensive backs coach. Do you know who that is? Now, I didn't know this until I just looked it up. I mean, I remember that they signed him as the assistant defensive backs coach, but I'd forgotten.
Me too. Go ahead.
William Gay.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Old Pittsburgh Steelers corner. He was really good.
And Patriots, maybe?
Yeah.
Steelers and Patriots,
maybe.
I think. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right? So he's back there to help out these DBs as well.
So that gives me even more confidence in Forbes.
Yeah. And they just have a lot of really good, recognizable names in the defensive overall. I mean, guys like Ken Norton Jr. and Daryl Tapp is the defensive lineman coach, and of course Kerrigan's there. All of these guys.
Willie Gay, Donatel,
yeah, and Donatel, absolutely. So I think that can do nothing but help him. But I mean, you can't. I don't want to be mean, but you can't polish a turd, right? That's the whole right. If he's not good, he's not good, and it doesn't matter what you do to it. No
he's
matter
good.
How you try to polish it up, he's just not going to be any good. I'm not saying he's a turd,
right?
But if he is, you could have the greatest defensive coaches in history. You can't fix that.
I think he's good. I mean, he was good in the senior year of Mississippi State. I mean, he was good. He was it's just the coaching staff probably had him playing out of position, even though he was lining up man to man against like the number ones, but still like maybe his technique was coached different last year or taught differently. So like they said, this year they're preaching details. So we'll see. Only time will tell. We'll see. We will see.
All right. I hope so. Look, I'm not rooting against the guy, right?
Right.
Right. But I'm just saying that when you go through every draft for every team, there are busts. And unfortunately that's what happens. And you pick the wrong guy. You can pick the greatest player and he turns into, I mean, look at everything that Chase Young was supposed to be.
I know.
You know, is the number 2 overall pick, and look what he ended up as. But then you can get a guy who's a undrafted free agent, like a Kurt Warner, and turns into a Hall of Famer, right?
You're right.
So I'm just saying that Forbes, I'm worried about him, but let's just hope that he can sort of figure it out.
Can't polish a turd, y'all.
Locked On says you can polish a turd. I've never tried.
We don't need that. Yeah, we don't have to elaborate on that
one. Tommy T. I tell you what, if you're not following what Tommy T puts out there, then you're doing it wrong, because he is really plugged in terms of he listens and watches and checks out everything. And he fills us in on little holes that we may miss. Like, I didn't know Forbes was staying after practice.
Me neither.
For coaching. So Tommy's always got some great tidbits that we sometimes miss. All right, Trev.
Yeah.
How about this? Today, again, it's day one. We're like 3 weeks away from the first preseason game.
Okay.
Cornelius Lucas was the starting left tackle today.
Yeah. It's his job
one.
to lose and his job to win.
Yeah. Are you concerned? If we go into the season with Cornelius Lucas as our left tackle, are you concerned?
I'm concerned just by previous experience, but I'm not fully concerned because it's day one of training camp. Has he improved? We don't know that yet. We don't know what this coaching staff is asking of him as a left tackle.
Yeah.
I'm also I think calming the panic down as he's been here before, and he's been called up to start input like when needed, called upon when needed.
Yeah.
He probably learned from Charles Leno too, who is not a bad LT. He's just average. He's mediocre, but he gets the job done. So, yes and no. I mean, I saw we're second on the list for waiver wires going into camp for rosters. So, my eyes are still peeled. I'm still looking. David Bakhtiari is still out there looking for a job. So, right now I'm 50-50. But if we get into after this first week of practice with pads on and we hear that would have been sack,
Right.
That's all I need to know.
Yeah.
It's time to go. Because if you're letting it happen against our squad, they don't stand a chance against Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau in New York, Micah Parsons and that D-line in Dallas. The Eagles D-line, I don't care what you say about their offenses, but they all have stout D-lines. And that's just a division. And we play some other different people this year too who's improving. So I just got to let the first week of pads happen before I can hit the panic button on Lucas.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Giants are going to be terrible this year, right?
Yeah,
I mean, mainly because what they have at the quarterback position. But if you have to go up against Kayvon Thibodeau, Brian Burns, and Dexter Lawrence, or wait, they have Dexter Lawrence or DeMarcus Lawrence? I forget. The Cowboys have
DeMarcus is Cowboys.
Right.
Yeah.
Those three dudes every week. I mean, not every week. Twice a year. That's a problem.
That is a problem.
And that's a problem if you have if you have Trent Williams as your left tackle, that's a problem, right?
I know.
He can
handle.
Might
be a smaller problem, but it's a problem.
That's right. And Cornelius Lucas obviously is no Trent Williams. So
no, he's not. So
I'm concerned. I've been concerned about that since the day free agency started.
Yes, you have. We all have. But
and not addressing it in the draft. And you can give all the excuses in the world. I get it. They tried. They didn't.
But they had free agency too.
$36 million in cap space.
Oh, what are we doing?
With a glaring hole at left tackle.
Okay, maybe they really are letting Cornelius Lucas take the job and see what he does with it in training camp.
Does anybody here think that Brandon Coleman is going to take over for Cornelius Lucas before week 4? Let's just say. Let me throw that out there. Does anybody think that Brandon Coleman is just a rookie?
Let me see.
A rookie is going to take over for Cornelius Lucas before, let's just say,
I'm looking at the schedule right now to see who we play in those weeks. All right. So first, Buccaneers, Giants, Bengals, Cardinals. Could Cornelius Lucas lose his job after those first four games?
Well, is there anybody on Tampa? Is there an edge rusher on Tampa that you're concerned about?
No.
The Giants, obviously, they've got a guy on both sides. Who's week 3 again?
Bengals.
They've got a.
Is that Trey Hendrickson? Is he there?
Yes, that's who I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Okay, and then you got the Cardinals. I don't really know anybody on the Cardinals defense outside of.
Yeah, I don't know, man, but
I don't know. But then after that, you got the Browns, the Ravens, the Panthers, the Bears, the Giants, the Steelers, the Eagles. So yeah, if you something's got to happen at the LT spot by week 5.
Well, okay.
Bring somebody,
So Nathan in the his owl checking in.
Hey, what up?
That's what we're doing right now. We're just kind of assuming since he did get day 1 reps at left tackle, we're assuming.
Who is it? It's him, Coleman, and Trent Scott, right? That's it? That's it. Yeah, he's definitely. We're definitely assuming it, Nathan. Yeah, for sure, bro.
Yeah, as we said earlier in the show, Nathan's out this week. Got the virus passing around in the house, so he is getting the little ones to sleep. They're all sick, hope you feel better, and we'll see you possibly next week when you're all better. All right, look, we've kind of. I love saying this. We buried the lead, right? I say this all the time. We kind of buried the lead because training camp. The season, this organization, the future is all on the one guy that you see in our picture here on the side. And Nathan, don't look too close to the picture because you'll see some graphic deformities that I didn't correct. So don't look at it. But Jaden Daniels today, what was the vibe that you got today from Jaden Daniels?
Like he's been here before.
What and what is sort of what did you hear in terms of how he played or how he practiced? I know it's just practice, but
I just saw clips. He's chilling. Like he's been here before.
Yeah.
He's making all the throws. He has his own swagger about him. You didn't see any from the clips I saw, you didn't see any like hesitation. You didn't see any confusion. And then just hearing what everybody says after practice about him. Like, he's been here before. And that's what you want to hear and see.
I think the vibe I got anyway, that Jaden Daniels was absolutely on fire today.
Yeah.
He was throwing touchdowns to Brian Robinson, to Zach Ertz. I think he threw 2 to Kaz Allen. And
he did.
That's a name to watch. Look, he was a guy who jumped out of the page a little bit last year, but not for his receiving. He jumped out for his kick returning and his speed, but he wasn't necessarily a route runner. And he caught 2 touchdowns from Jaden today.
He did.
Everything I heard today about his accuracy was on point. He had guys dropping balls here and there. Jahan dropped one. I think Sinnott dropped one or whatever. But I heard he was on point all day long. And we've heard that since OTAs.
Yeah.
Again, there's no rush. There's no pads. There's no, it's not a simulated game in terms of how they're putting together the practice. But as long as he's doing those things, we don't have to worry about that right now.
No, we don't. We don't. If he was struggling as a number 2 pick at quarterback, if he was struggling to make the throws with no pads, right now, I'm panicking. Panic.
That's right. Exactly.
In the game, it's not going to be perfect in the game. It's going to be off script. The ball's going to be in the direction of where it should go, but not in the spot where, you know what I mean? It's going to be ad-lib the whole time. So if he's doing this right now, then like you said, I have nothing to worry about because we've seen an off-script game. So let's go.
These are the sort of things that we need Jaden Daniels to be doing at this point.
Yes.
The understanding of the playbook, the dealing with the rush, all this other thing, that comes obviously with reps. But as long as he's doing the things that he's supposed to be doing now, which is delivering the ball, I don't remember who said it. I'm sorry I missed out who said it, but they said he was pumping that ball out quick today. He was getting those
no hesitation.
No hesitation.
He knows where he's going with the ball as soon as he says snap or whatever. He knows exactly where he's going.
I mean, listen.
Now
go and check Patriots Twitter.
Oh.
And Drake May, the number 3 pick.
Right.
Isn't that right? He was picked after Washington at 3.
Yes, sir.
Who the coaches already said he's not the starter at this point. He could, he's eventually going to, he's not the guy at this point. Jacoby Brissett's the guy.
Is the most pro-ready quarterback they have. That tells you a lot.
Imagine if that was here in Washington and we were saying
I'd be so mad.
Marcus Mariota is outperforming Jayden Daniels.
Wouldn't be as hype. Easily. Wouldn't be as hype.
Right.
Would not have nothing to be excited about a quarterback.
So that's obviously super important that this is going on at this point with Jayden Daniels, with the coaching staff, everything that's happening. One of the things, here's something I learned, Trev, that Logan Paulson said this. And Logan Paulson is he works for the Commanders. He does a lot of their social media and a lot of their podcasts and a lot of their TV shows and all that. And he said something that absolutely resonated with me, like nothing that anybody said in a long time. And it's not specific to Jayden Daniels, but it's kind of specific to what we've been talking about a little bit about lockdown, saying that's what we heard last year with Bieniemy and Rivera. That's what every camp has in terms of the first day, the energy and the hype and all this other stuff. And Jayden Daniels has been showing up at 5 a.m. in OTAs, and he did this at LSU and everything. And here's what Logan Paulson said. Those leadership traits do not necessarily mean you're going to be a successful player. But all successful players have those leadership traits.
There you go.
And that's what it is with Jayden Daniels. Think about it this way. Jayden Daniels' accuracy that he's shown so far doesn't necessarily translate into being a great quarterback, obviously.
Right.
However, all great quarterbacks are accurate passers.
Yeah, you're right.
Right? So you have to have that trait, and he has that. There are plenty of things that he has to work on.
For sure.
But to have that trait, he's on the right path.
I'm so excited.
I mean, how can you not be? How can you not be? But I love that from Logan Paulson. And think about that every time you hear something that gets hyped that means nothing in general. When you say, for example, let's say Mike Sanastril has the quickest steps, the fastest feet on this defense.
Right.
And people are going to say, well, so what? That doesn't mean that he's going to be a great corner or slot corner or safety, whatever he's going to play. No, it doesn't. But all great slot corners have that trait.
They do.
So at least he's got that. So keep that in mind throughout of this that we ever talk about. When we hype something, we're not saying that means he's going to be great, but he's got that trait, and all great ones do. So, Trev, I've got the much anticipated, the always talked about, and that's the Jayden Daniels training camp tracker. Okay.
Yep.
And here's a little bit of history of the old tracker. We started this 3 seasons ago. We didn't do it the first season with Ryan Fitzpatrick, but we did it 2 seasons ago with Carson Wentz, and we did it last year with Sam Howell. And here's what the tracker does. The tracker is not my sort of opinion on what I saw him do, because obviously I'm not there, and I can't give a very accurate assessment of how he did. But what I do is I read all of the people who were there.
Same.
And what they're saying. And you can read between the lines of what they're saying. When they say Sam Howell had a good practice, he needs to work on his footwork. And so that's saying he didn't have a good practice, because you can't come out and say he had a bad practice.
Right.
Because the team frowns upon that. They're not in the business of negative press.
No.
So what I do on this tracker is compile all that information, and then I decide if Jayden Daniels had a good day or bad day. And I'm doing it for every single practice in training camp, to include the preseason games, to include the joint practices, all of that. And 2 years ago when we did Carson Wentz, he started off really bad. All of his tracking was good, not good, not good, not good. And then he started getting better. But he ended up in the negative side 2 years ago. Last year, Sam Howell was kind of the opposite, right? He started off, he struggled a little bit at the beginning, and then he started figuring it out. And he ended up a net positive last year, just barely. Jayden Daniels tracker, day one.
Yeah.
724.
Yeah.
I'm trying. Good. It's either good or not good.
Okay.
There's no sort of grading system or anything. Did he have a good practice or did he have a not good practice?
Good practice.
Do you agree that he had a good practice today?
Yeah, man. I saw the clips. That drill with the squares in the net. You gotta get the ball in the squares. He nails that every time. Saw the clip that everybody was talking about, the corner touchdown that B-Rob team posted that one. Perfect throw.
Yeah.
All the beat writers said he was on fire. He was accurate, this and that, blah, blah, blah. There's no way he had a bad day with all those reports in the highlight today. So, good day.
Yeah, I'm excited about everything that he did today. Again, he had a lot of touchdown throws. There was a couple of drops. His accuracy was on point. And again, this is a compilation from all of the beat reporters and what they were putting out there. And I saw nothing but high praise. Nothing about, he overthrew a guy. Maybe his footwork was off. Right. His timing was off. His accuracy was off. He held the ball too long. That would have been a sack, like you were talking about earlier. None of that. It was accurate. It was quick decisions, and it was on time. The timing was all right. And so that's a good start to training camp.
Yes, it
for
is.
Who you hope is going to be the long-time quarterback here in Washington.
So we hope.
All right, Trev, a couple other things. Troy Apke jersey was used for the blocking dummy. You got a problem with that?
What? Yes, that was since I saw Nikki J. I think she posted that. I was like,
yeah,
damn, they did my boy Apke like that. But hey, that just means his legend lives on forever in Washington. Can't get rid of him all at once. Got to leave a little bit behind to keep reminding who he was.
Yeah. Look there. Lockdown is positive about Jayden than he was about RG3. That's pretty awesome.
That is pretty awesome.
I'm saying that because Lockdown's not necessarily the most positive guy there. Sorry, Lockdown. They're staying off campus.
I saw
they're
that.
All staying together in a hotel in a nice place. We're not talking about they're staying at some Motel 6, but in years past, they just stayed at home, right? And then they came to practice every day. But now they're all staying, even though they all live basically in that area, they're all staying off campus. It's a camaraderie thing. It's a team building sort of thing. Would you rather them do that, or would you rather them say, I want to go home to my family every night?
No.
That's sort of what is good for my mental health, is for me to go home. Think about last year, because we don't know a lot of these people, but think about last year with Charles Leno and his 4 kids, I think, right?
Yeah.
Think about him not being able to go home to help his wife with those 4 kids, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of the guys on this team have a bunch of kids, have a rack of kids that they'd rather go home to. But what do you think about them staying together in a hotel?
I love it. Like you said, it brings camaraderie, it brings team bonding, chemistry, continuity off the field that will translate onto the field in ways that we can't see with our own eyes. And I'm not being like that, but they just had a whole month to be at home and be with,
Sure.
Now it's a job. Like, no offense, but if teach their own. If you do find out it works better for you to stay home, cool. But as far as you just wanting to because you just want to, nah, man, your job is pretty much never stopped. But now it's go time. It's time to clock in today. You're at camp. It's training camp. When you were a kid, you went away to camp. You didn't like you had day camp, you had overnight camp. Day campers got to go home. Overnight campers stayed. If you want to stay at the home, then why are you overnight camping? It's camp. It makes the experience better if you stay overnight. So I like it. I don't have a problem with it. But if you want to stay home, cool. But if you want to be there together as one, then take advantage of that.
Except for Jonathan Owens, right? It's okay that he's not.
Yeah. It's the Olympics, bro. And he's like a depth piece. It's not even like a, no offense, but like, he's with the Packers, now he's in the Bears. Like,
right.
He went to your rivalry in the division. Like, all right, anyways.
If you haven't checked that conversation out that we had earlier about Jonathan Owens for the Bears, who was taking 3 weeks off so that he can go and support his wife in the Olympics, the greatest gymnast of all time.
Exactly.
I got a
Stoner
problem.
would cut him.
I would have cut him. Like, you're gonna miss 3 weeks of training camp so you can go and support your wife. I mean,
that's
again,
pretty much all training camp, right?
Pretty much. That's all training camp, right? So, what about, again, we kind of brought this up before, but guys missing camp to support their family for these events, I got a problem with that. I need you locked in with this team. I don't need you going to record a Family Feud episode. I don't need you to anything like that. Chase did that. Well, that was OTAs, but still.
That's right.
You had to go do Family Feud, I think it was. Anyway, this helps having all the guys there together. Terry even said, Terry McLaurin, who is notorious for staying late, being around, doing the autograph thing. Now, they didn't have any fans there today. Families were there, but not fans. But Terry McLaurin, who's always around after practice, does all of the media stuff and everything, right? Yep. He said, look, there's a lot more guys who are sticking around because they're not going home. There's normally a shower. I want to get home, right? Now it's like, I want to shower. I got to go bunk with Johnny Newton. I'm not real excited about that, right? So they're sticking around a lot more. And I think that's helpful. Again, keep this in mind. Does that mean they're going to be successful? No. But successful teams, one of their traits are that they bond really well, that they're close, that they have each other's back. So I think that's a good thing for them. Jayden Daniels was working under center quite a bit. I think I'm just taking this off the top of my head, but wasn't he a guy who last year was under center like 5 snaps all year? And I could be totally getting that wrong, but he's a guy who was mostly in shotgun. Do you want to see him working under center a lot this year?
Yeah, you're in the NFL now. Okay.
Yeah.
You don't want to be too obvious with your play style. Show people you can do both. Because college, pretty much all quarterbacks line up a shotgun. I don't care if you're in the Big 10, the Big 12, SEC, they're all lining up shotgun to air it out. NFL, man, you got to get down in there. Show you can get a 5-step, 7-step drop back from the under center, I want to see it. Plus, play action works better from under center, if you ask me.
It works so much better. It works so much.
I can't stand the play action and Sam Howell, and I mean offense because he's not here anymore. He was the worst. He didn't even try to sell it. Like he would just be like, "I'm ready to go." Like I can't stand it. Throw. Yeah, I can't stand it. So yeah, under center is good for me, especially with the competent center that we have in Tyler Bediash.
Yeah, Oh yeah.
If it was like Nick Gates under center, I'd be worried.
Right. Yeah, because we were worried a lot about it last year.
Yes.
All right, one more thing. Have you seen the new? It's different this year. They've been using these for a couple years, but the Guardian caps. Have you seen the new Guardian caps?
Yeah. At first I was like, that's a huge helmet. But I was like, oh, it's the Guardian cap with our color and logo. Okay, Dan Quinn. Okay.
Right.
We don't need the standard white off white. We got our own personalized.
Yeah.
I can't stand those things, bro. I can't imagine wearing those in camp. That's probably like one reason why people hate camp.
I think they're obviously important. They obviously have been proven to help, but yeah, they
It
look
just looks like you have a lot on your head.
Yeah. Do you remember? You probably don't know this reference. You're probably too young, but there was a I think the character's name was Kazoo on the Jetsons, maybe.
Okay.
And he was just like this little space alien or whatever that just had massive head, massive helmet or whatever. That's who they look like. They look like Kazoo. Oh, that's funny.
Another training camp note I picked up. Did you see the drone that flew around? I think yesterday before the players got there. Did you see that on Twitter?
From NBC4.
Like how camp is set up this year.
Yeah.
Because who we are as fans, we always have a gripe. Couldn't you put the bleachers in like the middle of the field?
Like in
they're like further fields? No, like at the 50, like have the 50-yard line run down the middle so you can see the whole field, because they're down like on like from the 50 beyond, and then up here are other tents and other seating, but the bleachers for everybody is like down here, so it's gonna be hard to see. I believe. I mean, I don't know how high they look from a drone or whatever.
Yeah,
we'll find out, I guess. But it just looks like it's going to be kind of hard still to see because you're so far away from. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
I think that's a fair point. They are obviously right now going through a lot of construction. Right, they're tearing things down and building other things to make the training camp experience be a little better. They've even taken out some trees at the end zone so that fans can be down there.
Oh, okay.
If you've been to camp, when you're facing the field all the way down on the right, they've cleared out some of those trees so that fans can get down there and watch practice from the end zone. So that, but maybe that's just it. But you could be right. I think that you do want a better view, more center of the field. Maybe that's something they're working on.
Right. And maybe all the action will be down on that side where the bleachers are. Like, we don't know.
Yeah. I'm not sure off the top of my head what's the first day fans are allowed at camp. There are less fan days this year than there have been in the past.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's cool though. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. It's different around the league, right? They have some teams have more days, a lot more days, and some teams have 0 days that they're allowing fans. Yeah. And we're somewhere in the middle. So I think we should be happy with what we get.
For sure.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting is going to happen in training camp? The bottom half of the wide receiver. That's wide open. After McLaurin, Dotson, go ahead and say Luke McCaffrey. De'Ami Brown, if you want, because he's been here.
Yeah.
It's wide open. I know Crowder probably is a lock.
I think Zacchaeus is a lock.
Zacchaeus. And okay, so let's do McLaurin, Dotson, Luke, and Zacchaeus. You got De'Ami Brown, Jameson Crowder, Casimir Allen had a 2-touchdown catch today. Somebody I like is the Rosemead Jack Saint from Georgia, who had a pretty good OTA.
Yeah,
and then you got probably a couple others too. So
you got Mitchell Tinsley, who was
returning
last year.
So that comes down again. How many are we keeping? Along like we talked about earlier, the kickoff rule. Are we keeping 7 receivers? Are we keeping 8? So it's just going to be interesting to see. I mean, they're all like the wide receiver room as a whole. I think is pretty good. We're not outstanding. We're not like great, but I think we're all competitive and can be pretty good. Dax Milne, he's in there. Mr. Steele Girl, like
still in there.
I mean, so it's wide open. It's going to be interesting to see these next few weeks. That's going to be a great thing to look forward to go to see it.
Yeah, I think you're right. And just kind of on a side note on that, you remember we called Dax Milne Mr. Steal Your Girl?
Yeah.
Right? Because he stole Zach Wilson's girl, right? They got engaged, by the way.
Yeah.
Dax Milne and
so he's going to ball out in camp now. Watch. He's going to leap over De'Ami and everybody.
Getting back to the wide receiver room.
Yes.
And we all kind of want to say, all right, I've had enough of De'Ami. It's 3 seasons now. Let's move on from De'Ami. I think this lack of of production or lack of locks, I think that's good for him. I think it bodes well for him making the team because of kind of what you said. You do McLaurin and Dotson, and then you kind of stop.
Yeah.
Right? You stop from that's your locks. I mean, McCaffrey's a lock just because he's a draft pick.
Right.
But let's just go with those three as being locks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Crowder signed a new deal and Zacchaeus signed a free agent deal, whatever. They're not locks. They don't make big money. And then you've got Diami and you've got Rosemary Jack Saint and you've got Tinsley and Kaz Allen and Dax. That bodes well for Diami Brown because there's nobody there. Like, he's not battling. He could be battling anywhere from number 3 to number 7.
Yeah, you're right.
Or he could be battling for the number 3 spot, but also getting cut.
Yeah.
He could be anywhere in between.
Big year for Diami Brown this year.
Big year for Diami Brown. And he's one of those guys we talked about earlier, right? That are fighting for their lives. They're fighting for their NFL lives. Yep. If he doesn't do anything in year 4 of a pass-happy offense, then he's probably just going to kind of bounce around a couple of teams in the same way that a guy like a Cam Sims or a receivers, they bounce around a couple rosters and then it's over.
Yeah.
Because you're drafting Luke McCaffrey and you're drafting, these guys from Florida State or wherever.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Or finding a Rosemary Jack Saint who is an undrafted free agent, right?
Yeah.
I'm with you, Trev. I think that wide
battle.
receiver room is going to be quite the battle, and these guys are going to be fighting for their lives. And that only bodes well for Washington because you do have guys fighting for their jobs.
Yeah, I agree.
It's always better to have guys fighting for their jobs than have guys being like, look, Jonathan Allen is a stud, right? And he's not fighting for a job. Right? He makes a ton of money. This is year 7, I think, for Jonathan Allen. He's been an all-pro. He's been a Pro Bowler. He's been a top 100 guy before. He doesn't have to fight for anything, but he's a professional, and he'll go out there and perform. But those guys behind him, they got to fight. Cleveland Farrell's got to fight for a job. Ridgeway's got to fight for a job. You know who's got to really fight for a job? Fedarian Mathis.
Oh, yes, bro.
He's fighting for
his
life.
I think we might not see him. He might be a practice squad guy for real, just to keep around because injuries happen. Yeah. But you're right, bro. That's going to be a good battle, too.
This is good for Washington because Fedarian Mathis, going into year 3 when he's barely played, he knows he's got to fight for his job.
I like that. I like this year that we're sitting here and not going, oh, he's done. He's a bust. He's cut. It's like now we're like, all these players do have a legit chance to make the 53 and then some. They do.
Yeah, absolutely.
They do.
And we've talked a lot about, you even mentioned it earlier, about the kick return rule and how that could affect the roster. Like you said, are you going to keep an extra wide receiver just for that role? Are you going to keep Jeremy McNichols?
I was going to say the running back room is pretty
running back,
right? You got B-Rob, Eckler, Rodriguez from last year with us, McNichols, and isn't there one more?
Somebody maybe can remind us. Maybe Gus, if Gus is still here.
Maybe it's just 4, but yeah. So that's going to be this training camp is going to be good. It's going to. I think we're going to see a lot of competitiveness, a lot of chips on the shoulders of some people. I think it's going to be. We might have a little camp tussles.
Oh yeah, we're going to have some camp tussles.
You saw what happened to the Chiefs today? Did you see that?
Right.
I mean,
who was it? Karlaftis.
Yeah.
Who is year 2 or 3?
3, I think.
Year 3, defensive end, popped Kadarius Toney. No pads. That'll get. Remember who did that a couple of years ago in Washington's camp? Was it Reeves that hit somebody?
Somebody did.
Somebody, a defensive back, hit one of the receivers. Maybe it was BSJ that hit.
Oh yeah, and Terry McLaurin got on him about that, and BME was like, mind your business, pretty much. And Terry was like,
Mind your
"This is my
business,
team.
fool."
I'm trying to have us together, not fighting this
Yeah.
for that." So yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of good battles that we talked about. There's going to be some good battles at the offensive line. Now, I think the left guard, Trev, is locked up by Allegretti, the guy they signed from Kansas City, who was a backup in Kansas City. I think he's left guard, LG1. Nathan's not sold. He's not sold on that left guard.
Who was going to start in place of him?
I mean, Chris Paul.
No, please no. His brother's better than him.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
No, I'm not a fan of no.
Well, do you think Allegretti comes in and he's another Nick Gates? He's another who's the guy who's the right tackle that we didn't like from the Chiefs? Wiley. Is he another Andrew Wiley where we're just sitting there saying, what are we doing with this offensive? I like Allegretti. I watched a lot of tape on him.
Too. Yeah.
I really like
played through that gruesome injury, pretty much one arm, and he comes from Super Bowl mentality teams. I know Wiley did too, but
yeah, I mean Wiley was a stud in that Super Bowl, by the way. But
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Maybe it comes down to coaching. Maybe these guys can play; they're just taught wrong. Which leads me to this: I have a question, Stoner. Do you think our coaching staff, the all-stars that we have, I'm kind of comparing it to USA basketball for men's and women's.
Oh, yeah.
In a sense that we just picked everybody, all these all-stars to put them together to go kick some you-know-what. Do you think it's going to be a hindrance because it's too many all-star known player, or you think it's going to be an advantage because the talent we have and the coaching staff?
Yeah, you've got guys who are basically coaching a level down from what they have in the past.
Yeah.
Right? Like Brian Johnson, he was an offensive coordinator. Ken Norton Jr. was a defensive coordinator. Anthony Lynn was a head coach. Kingsbury was a head coach, right? And all these guys are one level down from what they have done before. So they are all obviously type A's personalities, right? These are all, guys who are used to being in charge. And now not being in charge, I think that can be an issue when you start losing.
Right.
And then you can start pointing and figuring out why are you losing. Yeah. Well, maybe Anthony Lynn was trying to take over the offensive game plan or something, you know what I mean? Questioning Cliff Kingsbury's decisions. Or Kingsbury is questioning Dan Quinn or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It can be.
It's just wild. Because, other teams obviously have, former players and former coaches the same, but I just feel like our staff is, all-stars.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, we
you
talked
about
Willie
Gay, Daryl Tapp, Kerrigan, Ken Norton, Joe Witt, Donatel, Pritchard, Brian Johnson, Kingsbury, Anthony Lynn. It's just what? Yeah. Dan Quinn.
You're right.
Wild.
So let's make this comparison. If the U.S. men's basketball team doesn't win the gold medal, then the Washington Commanders are in trouble this year.
Okay.
Because it shows that that it doesn't matter if you have the best in the world.
Right.
You need to have the ability to play together. Because what do you see with the teams the men's basketball team won by 1 point over South Sudan, right? They beat Germany by 3.
Yeah.
But then they turned around and beat silver medalist Serbia by almost 30. I don't know.
It's hard. It's just hard to tell.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking about that. Is it too much all-star power on our coaching staff? Or I guess, like you said, we'll find out until game days. But.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was training camp day 1. That was a lot to talk about. I think we hit every single note that I had written down.
Let's go.
I even had, like I said, the Apke jersey on the blocking done.
Yeah.
But we still need to get into a few news and notes here in the cool down. We're going to talk about a couple of things that I think are still important to players or to fans. even though we're kind of moving away from all that because training camp has started. But we're going to talk all about that here coming up in the cool down. All right, welcome back to Ref the District again, episode number 183. Here on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. I don't know if Nathan's still watching, but yeah, we're on Twitch because of course we can't be on Twitter. Might as well be on Twitch, but I've asked if anyone's watching on Twitch to hit us up, but I haven't seen anything, so I don't know if anyone's actually watching on Twitch. But make sure you hit that like button. We appreciate everybody who does that. And I think Yam mentioned it earlier. Not only do the likes kind of get that algorithm going to get our show out there, but the comments that you guys continue to put over there also help push our show out there, because if there's a lot of interaction with you all, then there's going to be a lot of pushing of our show. So we appreciate everybody who has jumped in here. We haven't done a whole lot of interaction with you all, but make sure you get in here during the cool down as we go through a couple of notes that I wanted to talk about, kind of off the beaten path of what happened today in practice day one. But if you guys want to keep talking about day one in the chat, feel free, because anything football related is way better than this. Did you see how Brian Daboll said that they wanted to trade up to get Jayden Daniels? Right,
bro. He said
the
it
Hard Knocks, right?
a little bit. I don't have HBO Max. I kind of ran out, but I've been watching clips. Even Joe Sheen's son said Jayden Daniels, you only get this job once if you want to win.
Yeah.
I mean, that whole organization, wow.
Yeah.
They not like us.
well, you know what's funny about that is that, look, this off-season Hard Knocks is 100 times better than the in-season, is better than the training camp. Yeah. It's fascinating because you get to see what goes on behind the scenes, not really of the on-the-field stuff, the behind the scenes of the front office and the draft and the free agency and all that. Yeah, I don't think they're going to do it next year because them Giants are giving out way too much information.
Oh, that's why they're going to do it next year. We next. Watch. We're next.
Oh, I see. Now I'm starting to back off on the off-season. I don't think I want all of that information.
Why?
It's too much. It's too much info. The Giants are giving up way too much info.
Well, yeah, it's because they let Saquon walk. Now, if they didn't let Saquon walk and it was still then, would you still feel the same way?
Yeah, but they showed the back and forth of what happened with Saquon walking.
I know.
And that's great for us, but it makes the Giants look like idiots. So I don't want Washington to look like that.
That's fine. That's fine. But yeah, I did see that. And everybody was talking about how Jayden Daniels fumbled the ball on his interview or the play thing in the last episode. But then you find out that it didn't matter to them. They still wanted to go up and
absolutely. Yep, that was a big deal. Yam checking in from Twitch with a little Baba Booey. Baba Booey.
Baba Booey.
If you know Baba Booey, then you're probably a little older. You probably don't even know Baba Booey.
I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, it's a Howard Stern show reference. That's old school radio. Mm-hmm. All right, so that I thought that was interesting. All right,
it is.
We already talked about the training facility undergoing quite a bit of construction. Mm-hmm. You did kind of briefly mention it, but let's talk about the importance of this and that the Commanders are number 2 on the waiver wire.
Yes.
That's kind of a big deal, right?
That's huge.
Maybe when we talk about this whole left tackle issue, maybe that comes into play.
I think that'll come into play. I think our secondary is still a little shaky. We could let somebody go and get somebody else. I'm not really happy with the secondary right now because, like you said, Forbes is a question mark. Michael Davis is a veteran, but he's occasionally been burnt in San Diego. BSJ right now is probably our best corner we have on the roster since we haven't seen Sanistra in any action yet. But he's too handsy. He's too physical of a DB. He draws a lot of penalties. But he's like our biggest cornerback.
Yeah.
Sanistra is not proven yet. We're just going by his Michigan days.
And he's the
then,
little
like,
cornerback we have.
Yeah, exactly. And then the rest of the guys are depth free agency signings or whatever. So I'm not too sold on that yet. Even with Joe Witt leading the defense, I'm not sold on the players yet. But maybe that waiver wire will come into play with that one too. So yeah, I'm excited for that.
And most people here most likely play fantasy football, so you understand what a waiver wire is. And basically, when a player gets cut for whatever reason, contract or whatever, then every team has the ability to put in a claim for that player. And if more than one team makes a claim, then the team who is higher on the waiver wire gets that player above Washington. Let's say a left tackle, comes out. Washington and let's say the Bears both put in a claim on this player. Washington would be awarded the player because Washington's number 2 and the Bears are like number 11. So it becomes a big, but you have to use it wisely because once you use it, then I believe you go to the bottom of the list. So you use it, you go from 2 to 32.
Oh, so yeah, this better be a good pickup if you're going to use that number
right.
2.
So if you're going to use it, you got to use it wisely.
Do you have confidence in that will happen with Adam Peters the way he drafted?
Oh, I think so. Yeah. I think he has the understanding to figure that out. I don't know that they're definitely going to use it, but I think it's worth noting. Keep that in mind for later on in training camp when something like this could possibly shake loose and Washington puts in a claim.
Yep.
Grimgiles said he hasn't seen any of the off-season New York Giants. You definitely need to watch it. It is riveting. Yeah, it's riveting television. But again, this is the off-season. This is not training camp is going to be the Bears, I think.
Really?
I think either they're training camp or the regular season, but I think they're training camp.
Have they already picked all the Hard Knocks contestants?
Yeah, for this year.
Excuse me.
Yeah, last year. And then Locked On says he doesn't have Twitch. It's a gaming platform. It's a platform where it's a live stream platform, but it's mostly gaming folks use that. But it's kind of the same as any of these others. It's just a way to live stream anything.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Jason Wright. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, Jason Wright is leaving in 6 months, I believe, right?
Yeah, end of the season, I think. He's going to finish out the season.
Yeah, he's going to finish out the season. That's right. And then he's going to move on. It's not a particular job. He wasn't fired. It's just he's ready to move on. And he was put in an impossible situation here in Washington. Almost. He had some very noticed flubs.
Yes.
But Jason Wright was the right man at the right time. And I'm glad that he came in and did the job that he did.
I agree. I know a lot of people out there feel differently. Yes, he did have some blunders under his belt. But look what he was thrown into. He was thrown into a burning building, and expecting to come out unscathed, which is impossible. So kudos to him for what he did for this organization, putting it on the right train tracks to get going.
Yep. And
I don't blame him. He's probably tired. His job here is done. It's time for him to move on. And it's cool to see a former player who, no offense, he can tell you the same because we've talked to him. He wasn't an all-star. He wasn't a superstar, a Pro Bowler. He was he was a Jag. He was just another guy.
Yep.
Played for a few teams here and there, but for him to come out and know what it takes to get it done in the front office, major kudos to him. And also, I hate to be like that, but it's a factor as a black man too in the NFL.
That's a massive factor.
It's huge. So kudos to him. Nothing personal for the blunders, although we kind of gave you grief. I mean, think about it, guys. I'll stop in a minute. Name change, rebrand. The cricket guy who used to own the team, like the Ron Rivera stuff, the coaching staff, like what he had to deal with, training camp moving from this site to that site. Like he had a lot to deal with. bringing on London Fletcher as a commentator and all the different social media shows and stuff. Like, he had a lot to take on. And to come out successful to where he's getting interviews with other teams or looking whatever. Kudos, bravo. Thank you, Jason Wright. Feel free to come back on this show anytime you want. Once a commander, always a commander. In my book. So.
Yep. I agree with everything you said, Trev. He was good to our show. Like you said, he came on our show and talked with us, and we were really appreciative of that. He was always good to us, and I thought he brought a whole lot of class and a whole lot of dignity to an organization that desperately needed it at that time.
Yes.
And I thought that part he did extremely well. Look, the Sean Taylor stuff wasn't great. The rebrand wasn't great. The rollout of the rebrand was even worse.
Yeah.
But what he did is he created an organization coming off the toxicity that it did, and he created a stable, respected organization.
Yep.
And he did that for a couple of years when he had some bad people above him.
Yeah.
Not just below him, but above him. Talking about
and it makes you kind of wonder, like, those blunders probably can't be all put on him because he probably advocated for better outcomes, but the higher up was like, nah, do it this way. So
and it's crazy also, that the people who were in charge of the name change are all gone. Snyder's gone, Jason Wright will be gone, and Ron Rivera's gone. Oh, still got the name.
Williams still here. Commanders.
Yeah, but he wasn't like kind of in charge of it. He was part of the rollout.
I know.
But yeah, and kind of speaking of the name, Mark Ein, who is one of the ownership group, spoke on the record that, look, it ain't happening. It ain't happening anytime soon. We just need to stop talking.
Why would we do that? Thank you. Yeah. And there's also a little nugget he dropped with that. Maybe when we get a new stadium, how many years they said now? 9 years from now or something like that? It keeps getting longer and longer, it seems. So for those that are looking for a new stadium within 3 to 5 years, sit down. Just push your legs. Ain't happening. So
FedEx is going to be here into the 2030s, into the roaring 30s.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, and I retweeted the post on Twitter. I don't know the person name, whatever, but like, I just find it hard to believe that people are so hung up on the logo and the name of a football team more than what we do on the field to make the fan base happy. Like, it's a football game. We're not in the sport to see who has the better logo and the better team name. We're in the sport to win a football game. So it just blows my mind that people are still harping on this logo thing.
And have abandoned the team because
oh my gosh, yes. I just don't get it.
I don't
get it.
I'm with you. A couple of things to tie up. Bears are definitely the training camp. And then the in-season one is a division, if I remember. And I don't remember which division it was.
I think it's the North. I think it's the AFC North. I honestly do.
Okay.
I think so.
So Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Cincy, and Baltimore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool though.
Division.
Yeah. So that was a couple of things there. Let's see.
What else?
The stadium, $36 million in cap space. That's second most in the NFL. So again, along with that waiver that they're number 2, that if some big name, big high price guy is cut loose, Washington has the cap space to be able to go after him. Terry McLaurin will have his 6th starting quarterback in 6 seasons, 6th different starting quarterback in 6 seasons. And he did not get 1,000 yards in his rookie year, but all 4 years after that, he did get 1,000 yards. And if he gets 1,000 yards this year, although 1,000 yards isn't a big benchmark anymore, but still, if he does that, he'll become the first player in NFL history to give 5 consecutive 1,000-yard receiving yards with 5 different primary starting quarterbacks. Who have been his starting quarterbacks Can we remember all of them since he was drafted? To include his rookie.
Case Keenum.
Okay.
Starting quarterbacks or
just your primary starting at the beginning of the year. Who was your starting quarterback?
Case Keenum.
All right.
I don't know in order, but Ryan Fitzpatrick, Carson Wentz, Taylor Heineke, Sam Howell.
Yep.
There's one more.
Dwayne Haskins.
Oh yes! How did I forget?
But wait a minute. What about Alex Smith? Wasn't Alex Smith ever the starter from day one? Maybe Case Keenum.
That's right. Case Keenum came in for Alex. That's right. That's right.
So it was Alex Smith, Dwayne Haskins, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Taylor Heineke, Sam Howell, and then this year Jayden Daniels. 6 different starting quarterbacks to start the season.
And he number 97 on the list. I'm hot.
I know, right?
I don't think his peers know that stat you just dropped, or else he probably. I mean, come on, man. I have a gripe with that list. Aaron Rodgers is higher than Terry McLaurin. It's based off what last year's performance, right?
I don't know. Is it? Do they say that? Do they say that this is based on last year, or do they just say who is the 90? Who are the top 100 guys this year? Period. I don't know. Every list is different. Sometimes it is based on last year. Sometimes it's projection for the upcoming year.
Oh man. No. Either way, 97.
Did he ever play with Kyle Allen? I think he has. We just did the starting quarterbacks on day one, right. But I believe it's 11 quarterbacks overall. If you include Kyle Allen and Case Keenum.
Because he came in. Him and Dwayne were having that quarterback battle thanks to Ron Rivera, Kyle Allen and Dwayne. So we can go Taylor Heineke, Sam Howell, Garrett Gilbert, Alex Smith, Case Keenum, Kyle Allen, Dwayne Haskins.
Mm-hmm.
There's 11.
Somebody. It's not Gain Gilbert, but it was that Gilbert who did a COVID game. Remember when everybody got COVID?
Yeah.
Gilbert. I don't know what his first name was, but
that's 7.
Who are we missing? Oh, Garrett Gilbert. Yeah, not Gain Gilbert. Did he definitely missed Cousins? Yeah, because he definitely would have been the starter.
Oh, Carson Wentz, Ryan Fitzpatrick. That's 9.
Well, I think what's his name is going to be number 11. Jayden Daniels is going to be 11.
Okay,
he's missing one.
So we need one more.
Oh man, who was that dude?
I don't want to look it up either.
Does anybody have that information off the top of their head? Or you can look it up and let us know who that last one is. Might have been that COVID year. I mean, Gilbert and Heineke and oh man, last year was only Sam Howell. Oh, Jacoby
Brissett. There it is.
Last year.
There it is. There's 10. There it is. Wow.
Yeah. So Jayden Daniels will be the 11th different quarterback he's going to catch a pass from this year in only 6 seasons. Well, this is his 6th season. But in all 6 seasons, he has a different starting quarterback on week 1. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
And again, Colt McCoy, Mark Sanchez.
No.
Those are too early for him. I think that feels like it's too early.
AP was Mark Sanchez, Adrian Peterson,
and
Terry wasn't on there with Adrian Peterson.
Yeah, I think that was pre. But whatever. The whole point is that, again, 1,000 yards in a 17-game season in a pass-happy league is not necessarily a big benchmark anymore for these wide receivers, right? We're closing in on guys, 2 or 3 guys getting 2,000 yards in a year. We're getting to that point. But still, nobody else has ever done what he could do this year if he goes 5 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons with 5 different primary starting quarterbacks. And let's not forget, no Washington receiver has ever, just in general, has gotten 4 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons, which he did last year, which is why in that last game they were trying so hard to get him to that 1,000 yards. They were just targeting him every single down, even though they had only won 4 games and they were getting blown out in week 17. Terry McLaurin still out there in the second half trying to get those 1,000 yards. Trev, it's been an awesome show, man.
It has, man.
It's been an awesome show. Football is back. We're back. Super excited about all of this. It's been great. Everybody jumping in here into the chat. I got to recognize so many people. JG, Locked On, Grimjow, Timothy, Yam, of course, here, Uptown, in the house. Let's see.
Gus was back tonight.
Yeah, did Gus? I didn't see Gus, but maybe just for a little bit early on.
Mm-hmm.
But good for Gus dropping back in. Uptown, I think I probably already mentioned Uptown. Big E was in the house. Locked On, not Locked. I was thinking of Brian. It's Always was here. Tommy T's in the house. Appreciate everybody. And if you are listening or watching this later on, make sure you leave a comment. Say, hey, I was checking you all out. What you liked and what you didn't like about the show as we've been doing this entire show. Make sure you hit that like button. We really appreciate everybody who has jumped in here. It's been a great show. We talked all about the Adam Peters, Dan Quinn press conference early on. Then we went through all the training camp notes here in the middle of the show. And then we did the news and notes about some off the field stuff here in the end. But it's awesome, Trev. Football is back.
Football is back.
Training camp is here. Monday, remember this, Monday, they will be in pads for the first time. So make sure that that you've checked in on Monday, because we'll probably have some additional content to talk about first day of pads. So that's pretty awesome for the Washington Commanders being back here. Again, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and make sure you leave a comment at any time. If you're listening on the audio platform, make sure you leave a rating and review. So again, that can get pushed out using their algorithm. Big show. We'll be back again next week, Wednesday, live 7:30 p.m. on Facebook, Twitter, maybe Twitter. We'll see what happens. YouTube, maybe Twitch. We'll see what's going on there. It's been a great show. We are Ref the District, episode number 183, and we are brought to you by both Don't Sleep Energy and Bet Online, and we are a proud member of the Believe Network. And Trev, until next time.
We handle it internally.
We definitely handled it internally. Be a fan.